What's up, everyone? Kuro here. It's been a while since I've been here. Roughly let me just see. Probably like almost 8 months, I guess. We're here to talk about could Muchiro beat all the upper moons. This is not going to be a gauntlet. You can say it's like a gauntlet, but this is going to be like, what if they fought 1v1? What if Muchiro went to the train except goddamn Rengoku? Or, oh, what if Muchiro got in time and fought Upper Moon 4? And what if Muchiro met Upper Moon 6? All that. It's not gonna be what if I'm gonna use facts from the story. I'm gonna use feats from the story. So no matter what, I think it's gonna be a really valid video. But let's get straight to it. There is gonna be outro, intro. I don't know because I'm doing this really early, and I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna do an intro, outro, but I'm just gonna leave that for the editor. Well, for me. Alright, so first we're going to be explaining how strong is Muchiro actually. We're going to use the form that he fought Upper Moon 5 with. I almost said 6, by the way, but that doesn't matter. We're going to be talking about Upper Moon 5 and Muchiro's fight first, so let's just get right through that. But first I want to get through this statement because this statement is really weird to some people, but I just want to go in depth in it and my opinion on it. So right here is the statement. I guess you saw it for like a minute now, but Gyato states that you must have been born with talent because you're still alive. You're strong enough, fast enough that you can keep up with me. You must have been blessed with talent, but Uza just declines this. He's saying I wasn't born with talent, and he refers to two other Hashira, Muchiro, who was one of the youngest Hashira, and then Gyome. So this statement is really weird that I said before because this can go either way. He knows that they are talented because Muchiro was one of the youngest Hashira. Well, one of the youngest Hashira that was ever, basically. Or we can refer this to strength because Gyome's there, but Sanemi and Giyu isn't. So this statement can mean Uza respects them because they have so much superiority over all of them that he knows they must have had talent from the very beginning, that they are so strong that he doesn't compare to them. So now I'm going to get within his feats. I'm going to bring up one feat that really happened and people really ignore. His fight with Upper Moon, or a counter with Upper Moon 4, was really good, honestly. I think people will really ignore this. But Upper Moon 4's head, or neck you can say, was really thick and hard, and Muchiro himself cut it off pretty easily. He cut it off with one form, and this was before he gets his amp and everything like that. It's before he gets his new sword also. But I think we can say the main body is at least as strong as the one that Tanjiro fought. Not the one that all fused together, but at least strong enough or relative to the one that Genya, Nezuko, and Tanjiro fought before it all fused together. Not the one that Mitsuri fought. So the next fight that I'm going to bring up is his main fight with Upper Moon 5. And he was poisoned throughout the whole fight. It was proven that the poison was supposed to make him not move at all, and he was going to die within that fight also, but he broke out of it, and he was still going within the whole fight. He was still not slowing down. He was even getting faster, stronger, and he was holding back the whole time. He legit said it himself that he was not going serious, and I think that he was doing well, suppressed, and it wasn't even Gyako's true form. And then when he's like, oh, you're going to use your true form, I'm just going to pull out my full power, and he just basically low diffed him. So I think this is going to put him up there, and I don't need to really explain what would happen in this scenario that Daki and Upper Moon 6 get slammed on their head. Uzo easily defeated Daki, one-shot it, and like I said before, Muchiro gets referred by Uza a superiority kind of figure. He knows that Muchiro is stronger, faster, and more talented than he would ever ever be. So I think we don't need to talk about Upper Moon 6, and we don't need to talk about Upper Moon 5 because he legit low diffed them. So now I'm gonna be talking about Upper Moon 4. Upper Moon 4 is really complicated because of his abilities, but I'm gonna use two scenarios. I'm gonna be talking about why Muchiro would beat him in these two scenarios. So the first scenario is when Muchiro got kicked out the house, he came back, and then he fought one of the I'm gonna say copies because I'm not gonna say all that shit. He fought one of the copies of Upper Moon 4, and then he just like, oh, okay, I know where his body's at, and you could say his abilities will be too much for Michiro alone, but I don't think so because Genya, Tanjiro, and Nezuko all was beating the copies. They were all like basically mid diffing them. After they're like, oh, okay, I know how your abilities work. I'm just gonna beat you like this. And it was only until they had to get jumped. They had to get jumped to actually get defeated. And then Mitsuri came in, and then they fought the strongest one when they all fused, and that's the second scenario coming up. But let me just finish the first scenario. The first scenario would go like this. Like, oh, okay, this is all your copies. And he would just exactly do how he did Upper Moon 5. He would just cut off its head, and then boom, it's done. And he would get his mark immediately. Like, I'm just talking about, like, if he got there fast enough and then he fought Upper Moon 4. And then we can talk about the second scenario when Mitsuri gets kidnapped, I guess. Gets, like, trapped in a little box or some shit like that. And then Mitsuri can't fight, so it's only for Tanjiro that can fight. And they find the main body, but before that happened, they still fought the strongest when they all fused together. That's when Michiro comes in, beats the shit out of that guy because that guy he was getting bodied by Mitsuri, honestly. Like, he threw a full-fledged attack at Mitsuri, and she just tanked it. And then she kept fighting. She tanked it, and it was like, oh, shit, I'm just gonna keep fighting you. And this is before she gets her mark also, so I think her and Base versus Muchiro in a mark form is two completely different things. And he did fight Upper Moon 5. I keep saying 4. Upper Moon 5 and then low diff them. So I think that's enough for comparison. And I think in both scenarios, Muchiro wins off his speed alone. Off it, like, he's very smart also. I think his senses is really good. He knows how to fight. And his swordsmanship is just there. So I think he would just know how to get out that fight. And just like, okay, I know where you're at. And then he's just going to cut off his head because he already did it before. He already cut off Upper Moon 4's head off. So it wouldn't even matter. When we say, oh yeah, he can't. But he already did before. And even Tanjiro did with his sword. Tanjiro had to get Michiro's sword to cut off his head. And he exactly did. So, and it would just be the same scenario. He's just going to completely destroy every single cell of his body, destroy his head. The same thing he did with Upper Moon 5. So, I think either of these scenarios, these are going to be really tough for Michiro, but he's still going to find a way to win that fight. And either way, Tanjiro did do well against Upper Moon 4, against the strongest. It was only until after he was so tired and everything like that. So, I think all the way Upper Moon 6, all the way to Upper Moon 4 gets beat, honestly. And there's no debate on that. And then, now we come into the big boys. Doma, Akaza, and Kokoshibu. And, this is really difficult to say because, this becomes more of a debate against, can Rengoku beat Michiro? And I'm saying this because Rengoku fought Akaza. I can't compare Upper Moon 4 strengths to Upper Moon 3's because it's so weird at how they compare strengths. That's why I have to compare Hashira to Hashira. So, if Rengoku can beat Michiro, then I don't have to go further along on why he gets beat. So, after Rengoku died and everything like that, I'm just gonna bring up a couple of things. Rengoku was said to be the most respected Hashira, and they were just shocked as hell when he got defeated by upper rank 3, being Akaza, and they were like, "How did he get beat?" And even Tanjiro was like, "How did he get beat?" And then you can argue that Rengoku was tired, but I don't think that at all because he had no signs of fatigueness at all. So I don't think that really matters. And Red Goku was just respected out of all the Hashira, like acting like he was one of the strongest. And once again, Rengoku fought upper rank 3, and Muchiro fought upper rank 5, and then he mid to high divs upper rank 4. So I think just comes to comparison that Rengoku has better feats right there, and against that Muchiro, but when it comes to Akaza versus Michiro, Akaza is just heavily has everything. He has heavily advantage. He has speed, power, technique, and then he can adapt. Like if Michiro keeps getting up like he does, if he's just that determined to fight him, he's just gonna keep getting stronger, 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 and it's just not a fair match for Michiro until he gets his red blade and see the reward that I will be talking about right after this. So I don't think it really comes to who wins against Akaza versus Michiro. Comes to like, can Rengoku beat Michiro? And I think yes, he can. So, and I just listed why Akaza really beats him. Michiro is just so disadvantaged in this fight that he can't really do against anything that Akaza throws at him. So that's how I think. Alright, so now I'll be talking about Kokushibo Michiro, the one that fought Kokushibo, being Kokushibo the Michiro, so whatever the fuck. So I just want to get through that people has a misinterpretation on why he gets stronger. It's been stated multiple times in the show that you would get stronger throughout the fight. This is stated actually twice in the whole fight. This is stated with Guillaume and also with Sanemi. And this is also stated back in the... No, fuck. Back in the first arc, after the village arc, that, oh yeah, you can, when you fight someone, you get stronger. And then we see this so many times in the Akaza, when Tanjiro's adapting to Akaza, when Giyu's adapting to Tanjiro's movements and helps him out against Akaza. I don't know why I keep stuttering this like 100 times, so I don't care. But, and we just see this so many times. People say it's an outlier because he gets negged, then he fights a more strong Kokushibo. But I don't think it's really an outlier. It just proves that he gets stronger. Like every single Hashira or any single like main cast character can get stronger, or side cast character, whatever you want to call it, can get stronger throughout the fight or throughout any kind of fights. So I think that like he just adapts throughout the fight, and then just whoever tries to debunk it, there's so much evidence that's against you, so much proof and everything like that, it is against your claim. But let's talk about Michiro that fought Kokushibo versus the one that fought Akaza. We know that Akaza and Kokushibo are like two different kind of levels. We just know that because Akaza can't beat Kokushibo. Like that's just a thing. That's just a thing right there. And then we're going to talk about Michiro with his red blade, with his see-through world, because we're talking about strongest now. And we're going to talk about Akaza when he fought Tanjiro and Giyu. Because I think, in my opinion, Michiro slams that version of Akaza that fought Rengoku. If Rengoku was switched out with Michiro, and Akaza was like only had to use the same amount of power, he would get slammed. But right now we're talking about Akaza that can regrow his head. Well, any demon can do that, but I don't know why people try to use that like, oh, but he can regrow his head. Like, but any kind of demon can do that, or upper rank demon can do that. But there's so many things that's against Akaza now. Like I said before, there were so many things that was going against Muchiro. Now there's a lot of things going against Akaza. Now,
Muchiro has a red blade, see-through world, the same see-through world that Tanjiro had against Akaza, and he has a red blade. He has a better red blade than what Tanjiro had against Upper Rank 4. And I don't even think Tanjiro had a red blade in that fight against Akaza. He didn't have a red blade, and never showed or indicated that he had a red blade. So I think there's so many disadvantages that Akaza has. And now we have speed. Akaza got speed blitzed by, Perception Blitz by Kokushibu. And the same thing happened to Muchiro at the beginning of the fight, but then right after, he starts dodging a more stronger version of Kokushibu. He starts dodging, countering, and he even gets close enough to actually stab him. And his strength is his red blade is so well as well. Well. Oh gosh. Oh, not a good day. But his red blade is so strong. It legit disintegrated Kokushiba's body. It was starting to crumble. And if it happens to Akaza, he's going to have a harder time healing. He's going to have a harder time healing. He's going to have a longer time that he can react, because Kokushiba stated that he was in intense pain, that he couldn't do a technique or breathing. And that was also because of Genya. But imagine that going to Akaza. And that's wow, he did so much against Kokushibu. What if he does that to Akaza? Now what if when he does it to Akaza, he's going to do a lot more damage. And he didn't even use his breathing with it. And I think if he uses breathing, he's going to cut off his head. And yes, Akaza can still fight without his head being intact. But like I said so many times, the way that Muchiro can defeat them, or any kind of person can defeat Upper Ring Demon, is simply destroy every single cell in their body. Just destroy every single cell. And with how fast he is, with how fast Muchiro is right now, dodging, countering Kokushibu, what Akaza got Perception Blitz, I think that's enough to say that he can completely destroy every single cell in his body. With his breathing also, I think that's not an easy win, but I think the win goes up Muchiro. It's just so much against Akaza. Yes, if you want to bring in, for the benefit of the doubt, I'll say the fight lasts, and then Akaza starts adapting. And what is adapting going to do? We don't know how fast he's going to adapt. It took him, I think, 2 to 3 chapters to actually adapt to Giyu. It took him 2 to 3. And then at this point, I'm going to use some Giyu scaling right here. Giyu and Sanemi are legit equal in strength. You can say that. At the time, base Giyu and base Sanemi are equal to each other. They're equal. And Muchiro is stronger than that marked Sanemi when he gets to see-through world. And Giyu took a full hit of Akaza's full strength and full power of his final form of Afterglow. That's the first time we're seeing it against anyone. And then his Annihilation type that he killed Rengoku with. Had to include that because fuck Rengoku. Just joking. But Giyu took 2 of these and was still alive, by the way. He took the Afterglow that he almost blocked almost 100 of. Not almost 100, but he blocked. There was 100 and he almost blocked almost half of them, or more than half of them. And then he survived his Destruction type, Annihilation type. That form, Annihilation, that's just right, but whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I think that this is enough to say that Giyu can survive Akaza's full power attacks. And Sanemi and him are
at least relative. I would say Sanemi's a little bit above with his mark and how he is and how he fights. And then Muchiro is already above them both. His see-through world, his red blade's probably the strong at this point is the strongest because it can completely disintegrate Upper Moon 1, being Kokushibo. So there's so many things going against Akaza. And there's so much proof that shows if you have a red blade, it's gonna take longer for you to regenerate. A longer blade means. I said longer? Oh my.
Stop! No! Just stop it!